All right, so we are the intermediate scale solar team for the Spartan Superway academic year 2015-2016. I'm Gus, this is David, and Jamie. And what are we doing? We're going to put some solar on this thing. Sort of the only thing that really screamed solar about it last year was that they put up the actuating panel right here. It isn't terribly obvious, so a couple weeks ago, before we had the Swedish delegation come in, we threw some of the flexible thin film solar panels up on the sides that we're planning on using, just to kind of give it a solar look. So you come in, you look at it and go, oh, it's definitely going to be sustainable. It's got the solar power on there. And why are we going with solar? Well, of course, it's sustainable, it's clean, it's free, we're always going to have the sun. When we don't, we're going to have much bigger things to worry about. We're definitely trying to move away from fossil fuels. It is not something that is sustainable. Of course, we're going to run out in the near future. It's not good for the environment. It tends to cause a lot of pollution, so we're going to try and replace that with a much more environmentally friendly system. And it's definitely important. We all think it's important to apply the solar to it. It's an up and coming system, of course. There's more than 400,000 solar projects in California with more than 3,000 megawatts installed, and the average cost per watt is $5, and that's only dropping, so it can only get better. The solar, of course, has a 30-year lifespan on average, so set it up and not worry about the environmental impacts for 30 years before you put in a new system. And over that 30-year lifespan, a 5-kilowatt system, it's like saving 3,000 trees, replacing 41 tons of landfill rather than, recycling rather than landfill, and it's equivalent of about 20 cars off the road. So I'm going to hand it over to David right now. He's going to do a quick, the state-of-the-art literature review.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David. I'll be going over a couple of applications for solar energy today. So first up, we take a look at a picture on your far left. This is a picture of, it's one of the 9 SEGs located in the Mojave Desert. This is located in the northern part of San Bernardino in California. A few of the fun facts is, of course, this is one of the 9 SEGs. This is a solar energy generating system at a large scale. If you combine the capacity of all 9 of the SEGs, it has about 354 megawatts. It's able to power about 232,500 homes, and it displaces about 3,800 tons of pollution per year. And some of the advantages are, of course, this electricity comes straight from solar. A disadvantage is it's a pollution. It has pollution, but at the same time, it's not burning fossil fuel, so it's kind of like a half-half. And another disadvantage is it uses up a lot of land. Next up, toning it down on a smaller scale, we probably see this, in buildings, homes every single day. These are the solar heating and cooling. There are different types of solar heating and cooling, and naming a few, there's flat plates, there are evacuated tubes, integral collectors, storage, thermosiphon, and concentrating. The 2 common ones we see here are the flat plates and evacuated tubes. Pictures shown here are the evacuated tube. Some of the application for these are it provides hot water to buildings, as you can see. It provides heating and cooling to buildings and spaces, and it generates electric power. And some of the advantages of these are it can store energy in storage tanks. And comparing it to the solar energy generating system, as the picture is previously shown, it has high temperature, so it can power it with steam. Powering it to the steam turbine, and then it produces electricity, so it doesn't burn fossil fuels. Some of the disadvantages is it has a high initial cost, and at the same time, there's different seasons throughout the years. So when the day becomes cloudy, when it becomes dark, it loses its performance. Next up, we have something we see pretty much every single day, but this one, of course, is a solar car. Its name is Stella. Some of the few fun facts is this is a family-sized vehicle. It's a 4-seater. It is also designed by university students just like us, and it was placed first in the World Solar Challenge. This is the first vehicle made for road travel. It travels about 500 miles on a single charge. And the advantages is, of course, it's 100% electric. Disadvantages is it loses its performance during cloudy days, dark days. Next up, we have a solar bus. This is designed by a company called Tyndall in Australia. Of course, few fun facts, this is 100% electric, zero emission. On an average traffic, it can run about 125 miles before it needs another recharge. And it has a regenerative braking system, so it can increase its energy efficiency by 30%. Advantages is it's 100% electric. Of course, it has AC and Wi-Fi. And it holds about 40 riders. Some of the disadvantages is it runs a pretty short distance. 125 miles can't really get too far out before another recharge. And of course, it charges frequently. And next up, pass the baton over to Jamie here.
Hi guys, I'm Jamie. I'll be doing the functional specifications. One thing we wanted to do was make the solar panels more modular. That way it'd be easier to replace and repair, as well as eliminate the tracking system. You got to keep in mind that it's going to be miles and miles of track, so having a tracking system for each solar panel would be a lot of maintenance and everything like that. It would lead to higher cost. In order to determine how much power that we needed, we reviewed the previous group's report actually, and for the full scale model, they wanted 50 pods. Each pod would require 8,000 kilowatt hours per 20 hours of operation, and they calculated if the solar panel was at 21% efficiency, they would need 4,850 solar panels, and that would equate to 5 miles of track. Since we're working on the intermediate scale, we're going to use a power calculator by Solar Revolution to kind of scale it down to determine how much power we're going to need for the intermediate scale. So some of the solar panels we're looking at is the cylindrical solar module. It collects 20% more light compared to a flat solar panel. Its shape allows it to be oriented either vertical or horizontal, depending on where you are in the world and everything. Since it's cylindrical, it actually helps it become more modular because you could just build a frame on it. Also, it collects light from 360 degrees, so you get diffused light, direct sunlight, and reflected sunlight. The downside is that the efficiency is only 14%, and then we actually need it around 21%. Since the efficiency is down, we're going to need more solar modules to fulfill our requirements. And also, if you notice I believe the left picture, it's laid out an array. The thing with that is that it needs more parts, so it'll be difficult to repair or replace. The next solar panel we're looking at is a flexible solar panel. The efficiency is above 16%. The shape could easily be manipulated depending on however we want it to be. The supply is readily available, and the only thing is that it's difficult to make modular, and it's not easy to replace because you have to replace the whole thing. Both eliminate the need for a tracking system. Even though the flexible solar panel is difficult to make modular, it still can be done. We're leaning towards the flexible solar panel just because the efficiency is really higher compared to the cylindrical solar module, and that the supply is readily available. I'm going to pass it on to David right here.
So what will we accomplish this year? For us, the intermediate solar, we have 3 main goals. The first one is to have it fully solarized, meaning we would want the intermediate scale fully run by the sun without the need of outside power. So maybe that will be working with having some kind of storage system, working with that. Next would be having the solar panel as modular. We're having a modular design with that, meaning it will be easy to install and to take off. Also, it will be easy to maintain. All of this while still looking good on the intermediate scale. Finally, we'll have a cost and performance analysis where we will create a calculator that will provide the cost and efficiency and the amount of panels that you need for the power you required. So you could put in the power required into the calculator, and it'll give you the amount of money, how many panels, and at what efficiency you'll be need. With these goals in mind, we have obstacles that we're going to face. So the biggest one's going to be time. We only have a year, and we also have classes, tests, reports, and other things to do. So it's going to take a lot of time to do that. Also, communication. There's 42 of us, and we have many groups, so we all need to be on the same page. So getting in track is going to be sometimes difficult at different times. And another big thing is resources. Unlike last year, we don't have a lot of money. Last year they had about $16,000. As of today, we have $600. So last year really screwed us over. So that's going to be a big thing for us. So we're going to have to do a lot of more asking for donations from people we know and networking, and try and fundraise money. I'm going to hand it over to Gus to discuss the rest.
So the team that we're working with, obviously, I introduced us at the beginning. My name's Augustine. I'm the team lead. So I'm in charge of basically coordinating these guys, making sure we're moving forward. David Luo here is going to be our fabrication lead. He's going to be in charge of acquiring materials and basically planning on what we're going to be building. Jamie over there is going to be our research lead. He's pretty far ahead in the game right now. He knows what we're working with. He knows what kind of solar panels we're looking at, and he knows what's out there. So we're going to defer to him when we need to know any particular stats. And David here, he's going to be our team mascot. Basically, just me and him. We're going to jump around with the other guys and make sure that we're getting all our work done and we have everything completed, and essentially just utility men to get all our work done. When are we going to finish this? Of course, we plan on having our plans done at the end of the semester, so we can be ready for next semester to go ahead and start building. Just a little Gantt chart on there to show some small tasks on the way to the end. I believe that's it. Time for questions. Yeah.
What exactly do you mean by modularity?
The idea is we want to, the construction of the rail is going to be modular. So it's basically going to be put up in sections so it can be easily constructed and constructed quickly. We want to have the solar match that. So the solar can easily be constructed and mounted quickly.
So what makes, for example, the tubes more modular than
the tubes have their own shape, so it would be a lot easier to make its own sort of rack to put it on. It won't take as many mounting points and stuff like that. The flexible ones are not a set shape, so you'd have to build a full enclosure for it, and it would have to have, the full enclosure would have to have its own shape rather than relying on the shape of the panel. Anyone else?
So can you go back to your where you're talking about the functional spec? So what is your design going to, as far as how is it going to have to perform? What are the sort of major requirements?
So we wanted, since we're trying to eliminate the tracking system, we kind of want to have it in a curvature. That way, it follows itself naturally as opposed to having another system trying to follow it itself. Since it's a flexible solar panel, it could be bent. For the frame that Gus was talking about, we have an idea of kind of like a picture frame. Well, behind it will be a solid frame, and then we would apply another frame, but then it'll be open in the middle to kind of seal it in.
So for the functional specifications, we're looking at the calculations from last year, which is about 8,000 kilowatt hours per 20 hours per cart or per pod on the system. So we're aiming to build a system that can supply that and store it.
Okay, so that's at least one good number. Now, can you quantify sort of, design requirements for the structure? Like, it's going to need to weigh less than some amount,
Okay.
Cost less than some number. I mean, those are the kind of design requirements that I want you to be thinking about and articulating, because they, in a sense, then become your targets. And so, we ought to make sure we agree that you're shooting at the right targets.
Okay.
So we need to have that articulation of the targets really well done. I heard a lot of good ideas of things that you want to look at, but it's still like maybe you have in your mind what you want to accomplish, but you need to list that out in terms of what the system has to do. Those are going to be your targets. Okay. Any other questions or feedback to the group? Cool. Okay.